everybody. Welcome back for another episode of A Woman's Strength, empowering stories from struggles to triumph. This podcast is to provide women a platform to share their stories where you were struggling and now you are victorious. And ladies, sharing your stories is twofold. It helps a woman who is struggling in the moment and give them hope. And it also reminds you how far you have come. So it's so important to share your stories. My name is Rosita Perez. I am your host, self-discovery coach, and realtor. I get to help people find their way home, whether home is a physical home or if home is the finding the core of who you are. Today, my guest is Joan Kenyon-Woods. She is a teacher, a relationship coach, and a licensed master social worker. Give me a second and let me get her on stage. There she is. How are you, Joan?
I am well, Rosita. So excited.
I just want to start by saying thank you so much for taking the time to be here, as well as sharing your story, because a lot of times sharing our story can be vulnerable and could dredge up some feelings, but praise God, you're on the other side.
Yes. Yes, I am. Thank goodness. And I'm so excited to be here to just, share with you and to uplift the women who are watching your wonderful podcast.
Thank you. So let's start with, can you share a time when you face a significant struggle in your life?
Oh, that's a good one, Rosita, because for me, it was all about struggling in love. I remember as a young woman, I fell in love, as we do, ladies out there, and I thought this man was the love of my life. He was everything. I thought the sun shone out of everywhere on him, right? And all of a sudden, because I left the country and other reasons, I was just dumped and discarded like rubbish. Can you imagine that feeling of loss, of sadness? And that just threw me into such a depression, such a state of nothingness, So in that moment, I just felt like I was nothing and no one would love me again. It was just devastating to me because I'd put all of my stock of emotion and love into that person that I thought was the love of my life. This was a person I was going to be with forever. And it just didn't work out. And so it was just the worst time for me.
Oh, I can so relate to that. I remember my boyfriend when I was 15 years old, and I was so heartbroken
Mm.
when he cheated on me.
Oh,
It was like,
that's
I thought
worse.
I was not going to live.
Right, right. I know how you feel. I felt the same. I felt the same.
Oh my gosh. So tell me, what did you do? What were some of the internal battles that you were dealing with at that time when all that happened?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I was growing up in London, England, and it was my late 20s, and so my parents divorced. And so not only did I have to leave my dad and my friends and family, but my mom decided to move to America. So it was just, and if you're an immigrant out there, you know the feeling because it was not only just leaving the home to another home, it was leaving the country to a new culture. So everything was just happening to me at that time. I was, I went to work. I didn't even work before. I'm like, who goes to work at, 20 or whatever? Because the culture was so different. And so if you're an immigrant, as soon as you land here, you better start earning your keep, and everything was just so different, so difficult, so new. And imagine on top of that, thinking you had this stability in one place in your love life. I was writing letters. I date myself. It's back when we wrote letters, no texting and, calling. And I get the letter that is the most devastating of all, from the army reference, the Dear Joan letter, that it was over. And so not only was my life over in the country that I'd grown up in, but now I was in a new place, and now my love had told me that it's over. And so everything just collapsed for me. And that's the state that I just stayed in for a while.
I could imagine that then steps in the self doubt,
Yes,
the
absolutely.
insecurities, the fears, right? All
Mhm.
the neighbors, fear,
Yes,
self
yes,
doubt,
yes,
imposter syndrome, all
yes,
this.
yes,
And in a new
depression.
country, like,
Yes, yeah. No, I was talking about depression and yeah, fear, lack of not knowing. It was like, how do you even navigate this new culture? Because believe it or not, America is just such a different culture from everywhere else that you come from, right? Even though, England may seem similar, it really is so different. It's so fast paced here. It's so survival of the fittest. And if you don't come ready for that, and if you come broken and sad, or because I was leaving, not only my parents didn't divorce themselves, or it wasn't just their divorce, it felt like I was divorcing everything that I knew, my friends, family that I still had there, my dad that I love dearly. You don't know as a younger person what your parents are going through until later you get it. My mom was just this go-getter, and she just wanted to just get away and do more and have more. And so it was, to me, it was a loss. It was losses all around.
let me back up a little bit. So you came to a whole new world,
Hmm.
parents divorcing.
Hmm.
You've had, it's a whole different cultures.
Hmm.
Everything is different.
Every,
Then the one thing that was secure for you was your relationship. Then you get the Dear Joan letter. I
yes.
mean, talk about the limiting beliefs, the self doubt, you know,
The
why
lack of
wasn't I enough?
esteem. The blow to your self-esteem, right?
Oh,
The heartache, the thrown into this deep depression. I mean, imagine you're new to somewhere and you're depressed and sad and can't function. That is really, really difficult because you have to start to function as you land, right? It wasn't long after I landed here, and it was just, oh my gosh, what is happening to me? And my mom was just, wisdom just kept a watch on me and just made sure that I didn't do anything untowards. And it was just a lot.
I let's just stop for a second. I love that statement you just said. Wisdom kept a watch on me.
Yes, it
Let me
did.
let me just
Through my
write
mom.
that down
Yeah.
because that's powerful.
Yes. Yeah.
When you know that there's something bigger than you. For
Hmm.
me, and I think for you as well, it's
Hmm.
God, Jesus,
Yeah.
that's bigger, that can carry us.
Yeah.
But when you don't know, you're a teenager, you're
Hmm.
trying to get through it, you've got so many things coming at you.
Hmm.
You've got to count on a higher power to be
Yeah.
able to just make it through the day, especially at that age.
Yeah.
Like love is everything,
Yes,
right?
it is. Yes, it is. And yeah, and I was just out of being a teenager. I was like, 21, 22. And as you say, my parents used to always send my sister and I to church, but they never went. And I have to say that was a saving grace, because the word says, train up a child in the way they should go and they will not depart. And I'm not quoting, paraphrasing, but that is what kept me, because in her continued wisdom, my mom invited my aunt over, because I just went into my bed, into my shell, and stayed there. I didn't know how to move, how to get out of this feeling of loss, of I'm done. And my aunt came, prayed over me, invited me to church. And that is when the movement started. That was the shift that I needed. That power, that spirit that just took over me and came within me. And I knew now what it was when I was a child of 7 and 8, going to church and hearing that His love is sufficient. Greater is He that's in me, that's in the world. I started to understand those phrases.
I'm going to have to say, as I was going through my self discovery, the scripture that really got to me was His love is so deep.
Mm.
It's so wide. It's so incomprehensible. I know for me, I've never experienced that kind of love.
Oh, wow.
But to know that I'm wrapped up in
Mm.
Jesus's love, it's like, okay, I got to get up.
Yes.
because I'm still here and I have a purpose. So let's stop messing around with this. I mean, you got to feel your feelings. Let me back up. You got to
Hmm.
definitely feel those feelings of fear and doubt and oh my God, and my world's going to end.
Right.
But now let me back up. So you one specific action that you took was and was blessed with
Hmm.
was going to church.
Going to
So
church.
what other thing happened that then you took the next step? What was the next step?
Right. So when I went to church, became saved, and really understood what that meant, prayer every day, seeking the company of people who were a community of believers so that they would uplift me. When I went into the church and around the people, I felt that love, that joy that comes from being around people who are living for this higher power and understanding that He makes all the difference. I started reading personal development books, right? What to say when you talk to yourself. I mean, these books just started to change how I thought about who I was, that I no longer felt like rubbish and garbage because it wasn't about what one person thought of me, it was what He thought of me. And I realized that His love is greater than any that we could have. And so I read books, went around the community of people who were supportive and kind and loving. I started to just feel like this is God's love and what it should be and how we should love ourselves. I started to believe in me and that I should love myself first and then everything else would come to me. So it made all the difference.
So let's just stop there for a second because here's the thing. In our society, we want it quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know from all that you're saying that that was a journey
It was a journey.
and it didn't happen overnight.
No.
And that tell me, did you have to commit to yourself consistently?
Yes. Yes.
Because it's easy when you're young to be
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go over here because this looks more fun.
Mm-hmm.
So, would you say that the first thing that needed to be done was committing to you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Absolutely, Rosita. The first thing was committing to me and believing that the commitment is going to be the answer, right? Because when you're in it, you feel like nothing is the answer. There is no answer for this, right? There is no getting up out of this depression, out of this lack of self esteem, out of this feeling like you're nothing. There is no getting out of nothingness. But when you are brought into a place where He is and God is, and you feel like you are somebody. You feel like this love is what I've been looking for, and not the love of a person, but a higher love, so that you can begin to love yourself, know that you are worthy, you are worth something, you are worthy of love, know that you are special, all right? You are somebody, not a nobody, because someone said you're no one to me. I am someone to Him. And so when I start to feel that, everything changed. Everything.
That just touches my heart because I didn't take that route. I took the regular route of, okay, forget about it. I'm just going to go out and start dancing and meet people. And
Mm,
that route took me to even more heartache.
yeah.
But tell me, did you find the guy who broke your heart?
Hmm.
Did you find that that just opened the door for your long term marriage now?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I put my hand up here because hello, because yeah, once I started to know myself, right, honor God, and bring prayer into my life, He started to show me, what it was that I really wanted and what it was that I was capable of having and getting. And so I just, started to just declare things because I knew that I wanted to love again, but I didn't want, as you say, to take that route to be out there in the streets and all that stuff. I wasn't that person. And I've always known I wasn't that person, right? So in the church and in my Christian belief, I stood there and just had quiet moments with God, telling Him what I wanted. A good man, somebody who honors me and honors you, right? Somebody who's safe and protected. And I knew what I wanted. And one day, and not in this quickly as well, growing up and getting on with life and being, the successful person that we all are out there, ladies. I just kept on with life, but I had my heart was open. My heart was saying, someone will and can love me because I'm full of love and I had love to give. And just one day, a friend of mine invited me to an event. I said yes. I said yes. And I went, and there I met the man who is now the love of my life for the last 33 years. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, Joan. So I'm just going to be vulnerable with you and let you know that that gives me hope.
Yes, yes. Please, everyone out there is hope. You have to stay in hope and stay in declaration. Just declare, decide that you want to have that person, right? And just declare it and watch God deliver because He's faithful. When you say you want something and you have done the work, you've lost the pain, the hurt. Because I wasn't walking in, men are all crazy and there's no good men out there. I wasn't walking like that. I was walking like somebody's going to love me because I'm full of love and I want to give that love to someone. Because you have to walk and radiate that, all right? You have to attract that person that you have become and they'll see that. And so walk in that. And definitely there is hope after loss. Absolutely.
So, really, in retrospect, I'm going to say in my case, my first heartbreak, that was meant to happen. I felt like probably God protected me from that specific relationship. But it's also important what I heard you say is that you took the lead. You made you important.
Yes. Yes.
You did the action steps and you really manifested what you wanted in a mate.
Yes.
You were keeping open your heart open, but I'm going to be willing to wager that you were also cleaning yourself out, so to speak,
Yeah.
and preparing yourself to
Hmm.
be that mate for your forever mate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You just always have to be in working through the hurt and the pain mode, right? Um, I recommend that because I was so involved in my church, I didn't miss a Sunday. And further later on when I got married and had my children, I brought them with me, young children, because I knew the power of staying in that support, staying in that joy that I was feeling and that protectiveness. So you have to work on what it is that I need to get rid of and what it is I need to work on. Yeah, all kinds of pain is pain, right? The loss of a loved one, the loss of love, the loss of, family member, all those things are pain, but we have to work through them. It's grief. Somebody said to me, like, any kind of loss is grief. So even the loss of love is like grief. It's really a real loss. And so you have to work through those grief and go through those stages. We know that, there are like 6 or 7 of them, Kubler-Ross, and we have to go through all that denial, anger, the pain. So I went through all of that, in denial at first, like, oh no, this can't be happening, come on, right, really? And then it was the pain, the hurt. You work through all of it, and I had that support of being in that place where I knew that I had the support of God and the people around me. So be in a place where you're getting that help and that support, whether it's therapy or a community of women, as some of us are in other walks of life now, who are supportive and kind and giving. You don't need to be around people who are still reminding you of, oh no, you're still lacking this. No, you want to be around the people who are uplifting you.
I can tell you because I didn't take your route. I ended up taking the world's route,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Just replacing relationships. But here's what I found is that women in general, we tend to like circle that rabbit hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I stayed in victimville for a long time. I
Mm-hmm.
was president for a running good several terms.
Yeah.
I think I was taught to stay in that chaos
Mm, mm-hmm.
and not like purposely taught. I think I was more like the surrounding taught me
Yeah. Yeah.
to just talk about it and stay in that misery. And something clicked in me where I was like, no, no, I don't want to be in victimville anymore. I want to step out and be in a fulfilling relationship,
Yeah.
not just with others, but myself. So I want to ask you,
Mm.
there's a woman who's listening,
Yes.
whether she's been on my side of the tracks or yours in terms of knowing God, Jesus early in life.
Yeah.
What advice would you give a woman who just going through a broken heart?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the first thing I want to tell you, sis, is that you're not alone, right? Yeah, as you've heard my story, you've heard Rosita's story, you're not alone. And now seek the help that you need, right? Work your way through that, whether it's through therapy, find a community of people who understand what you're going through. They have AA and all these organizations I think are fantastic because people are there who are not being judged, who are not feeling that they're the only one. So find that community. If whether it's a church, community of business that you're in, find a community where you can feel comfortable enough to start letting go of this hurt, of cleansing yourself of it. Because if you don't, there's no way to bring in anything new. We know this, like, a house that's cluttered. If it's too cluttered with stuff, there's nowhere else to put anything in, right? We know if we clean out our closet, then we can see what we have and add something new. So, in that way, just clean out whatever's in you that's causing that pain, that hurt, that barrier. So ask for what you want, right? Seek to become that thing that you want so you can knock down those barriers that are stopping you from getting to where you need to be. So,
I love your words of wisdom. And I just want to tag on to you said to clean out the closet, right?
out the closet. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you are dealing with negative people or have been in negative relationships, I call that a fur that you're wearing, right?
Yeah.
Take it off, clean that out of the closet.
Clean that.
It's time to get some new clothes.
Yeah. New clothes, new thoughts, right? It's so
Yeah.
important to have positive thoughts. And you hear that all the time, but it is so true. It is so true. Be grateful for things. If we're walking around like this, no one's going to approach us. And you see Rosita and I, we're just smiling away. Not that everything is perfect, because there's nothing perfect, right? Nothing's perfect. But we have to walk in the stead of positivity. So you get up every day and just your feet touch the ground. When mine touches the ground, I said, thank you, God. That's who I pray to. That's who Rosita prays to. Whomever, a higher power that you believe in, but believe in something higher than you that can get you where you need to go. All right. So walk in gratitude. Be grateful for what you have and who you are. Right. Work on your own self-worth and self-esteem. Build that up in any way you can. Right. If you feel that there's something you want to change it. And then when you look in the mirror, you're like, oh, I like you. You look all right, love. So anything that you can change, you should, right? And so get that positivity, get that gratitude, get around the people who are going to help you, clean out the old stuff because you have to work on that. You have to work on that. And then you open up your heart to attract everything that you want and know what you want as well. Start to know what it is that I really want, especially from a love relationship. What do I really want? Because everything we say, there's a phrase, and I'm not a minister, but we are snared by the words of our mouth. Everything you say. So be careful what we're saying, what we're drawing into our lives. So start saying all the positive things that you really want.
Yes, I'm not a scholar, a Bible scholar either, but that verse really stuck to me. It's because our words are so
So,
powerful. We don't even realize it. But if you start listening to yourself
mhm,
and see what you're manifesting from the words that you're saying,
right.
it will go deep.
It will. You'll see.
So this is my favorite part of the podcast. Now, Joan she shared with you the struggle that she went through, what she did to overcome. Now we get to find out how she is being so triumphant in her today. What are you doing now, Joan?
Oh, well, I'm excited to say. So today, that's why I call myself Lady Love, right? And I'm a love coach, relationship coach, and I provide masterclass that help high performing women like your viewers, Rosita, to step back into the dating world with confidence to find that just right partner that gets them.
All right, so Joan, how can people contact you?
Rosita, they can contact me at Joan Kenyon-Woods on every platform because I want them to ask for what they want, to seek to become what they want, so that they can knock down the barriers to attracting that one who gets them, the person who is their heart's guardian.
That's beautiful. So tell me, you have workshops, right? Are these monthly? Are they free? Like what's going on with that?
Yes. The workshops, the master classes are free. I do them monthly, usually twice a month. Again, you can reach out to me at Joan Kenyon-Woods on all platforms, on Eventbrite as well to sign up. I am looking forward to helping you to find your heart's guardian because success and love go hand in hand. And I want you to keep on being your extraordinary self with that person who gets you and supports you by your side.
Joan, thank you so much. Now, before we close, I invite the audience to go to my website at movingforwardforlife.com and schedule your complimentary clarity call and take time for you. This is 30 minutes all about you, all for you. Get rid of all your roles and just be you. It's a safe place to speak your piece with no judgment. Where can you get that? I will put the link in and so you can see. But I know that Joan agrees with me when I say this. You are not alone. And you have the power to choose the trajectory of your life. You have the choice. So think about that and think about which path you want to go. Joan, thank you so much, Miss Lady Love.
Thank you, Rosita. This has been so awesome. I appreciate you so much. You're beautiful. You're doing awesome things. Mwah. It's good to come home.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you next time.